Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Media Muteri Cinta. In this presentation, I would like to present my research proposal entitled The Correlation Among Reading Engagement, Reading Motivation, and Reading Comprehension Achievement of 11 grade students of senior high school in Palembang. Okay, the first is background. Reading is one of the important skills in English learning because students need reading to understand information, gain knowledge, and support their academic achievement. However, many students still face difficulties in reading comprehension, such as identifying main idea, understanding vocabulary, and interpreting meaning from text. This problem may be influenced not only by cognitive factor, but also by affective factor. In this study, I focus on reading engagement and reading motivation. Reading engagement refers to student active involvement in reading activities, while reading motivation refers to student willingness and effort to read. Based on previous studies, both variables are related to student reading comprehension, but most studies examine them separately. Therefore, the study will examine reading engagement, reading motivation, and reading comprehension achievement simultaneously. And then previous studies. Several previous studies have discussed reading motivation, reading engagement, and reading comprehension. Some studies found that reading motivation has a significant relationship with reading comprehension. Other studies show that reading engagement also contributes to reading achievement. However, the findings are still inconsistent, and many previous studies focus only on one independent variable. Therefore, the study is conducted to fill the gap by examining reading engagement and reading motivation together in relation to reading comprehension achievement. Then, research gap. The research gap of this study is that the previous studies mostly investigated reading motivation and reading engagement separately. There is still limited research that examines the correlation among reading engagement, reading motivation, and reading comprehension achievement in one model, especially at the senior high school level in Palembang. The research question. The research problem first is there a significant correlation among student reading engagement, reading motivation, and reading comprehension achievement? The second, to what extent do reading engagement and reading motivation contribute to student reading comprehension achievement? Next, research objective and significance. The objective of this study are to analyze the correlation among reading engagement, reading motivation, and reading comprehension achievement, and to analyze the contribution of reading engagement and reading motivation to reading comprehension achievement. Theoretically, this study is expected to enrich knowledge about affective factor in reading. Practically, this study is expected to help teachers understand the importance of engagement and motivation in reading, help students improve their reading habits, and provide reference for future researchers. Next is theoretical framework. Related to the theoretical framework, the first concept is reading comprehension. Reading comprehension is the ability to understand and construct meaning from reading text. It includes identifying main idea, finding specific information, understanding vocabulary, and identifying reference. The second concept is reading motivation. Reading motivation is student interest, willingness, and effort to engage in reading activities. Students with high motivation tend to read more actively. The third concept is reading engagement. Reading engagement refers to student behavioral, cognitive, affective, and social involvement in reading activities. Students who are engaged usually participate more actively and use strategies to understand text. And then conceptual framework. In this study, there are two independent variables and one dependent variable. Reading engagement is X1, reading motivation is X2, and reading comprehension achievement is Y. This study assumes that reading engagement and reading motivation have a relationship with student reading comprehension achievement and may contribute to it. Next is research hypothesis. The hypotheses are divided into null and alternative hypothesis. The null hypothesis states that there is no significant correlation among reading engagement, reading motivation, and reading comprehension achievement, while the alternative hypothesis states that there is a significant correlation. The second hypothesis relates to the contribution of a reading engagement and reading motivation to reading comprehension achievement. And then research method. This study will use a quantitative method with a correlation design. This design is suitable because the purpose of the study is to find out the relationship among variable and the contribution of independent variable to the dependent variable. Then population and sample. The population of this study will be all 11 grad students of SMA Bina Warga 1 Palembang and SMA Negeri 15 Palembang. The total population is 509 students from 16 class. The sample will be selected using cluster random sampling. The selected sample consists of 4 classes with a total of 107 students. Okay, next is variable. The independent variable are reading engagement and reading motivation. Reading engagement is symbolized as x1, reading motivation as x2, and reading comprehension achievement as the dependent variable or y. Next is instrument. There are 3 instruments in this study. The first is the reading engagement questionnaire, adapted from the online reading engagement scale or ORAS. It consists of 32 items and 4 dimensions: affective, behavioral, cognitive, and social engagement. The second is the reading motivation questionnaire, adapted from the motivation for extensive reading questionnaire or MARQ. It consists of 44 items and 8 dimensions. The third is the reading comprehension test, which will consist of multiple choice questions based on reading text. Then validity and reliability. The validity of the questionnaire is based on the original research validation. However, since the instrument will be used in different contexts, the reliability will be examined using Cronbach Alpha through XPSS 27. The reading comprehension test will be validated through content validity and construct validity. For data collection, the research will ask permission from the school distribute the reading engagement and motivation questionnaire through Google Form, and then it administer the reading comprehension test. And then data analyze. The data will be analyzed using SPSS 27. Descriptive statistic will be used to find the minimum score, maximum score, mean, and standard deviation. Then prerequisite tests will be conducted, include normality and linearity tests. After that, person product moment correlation will be used to analyze the correlation among variable, and multiple regression analysis will be used to analyze the contribution of reading engagement and reading motivation to reading comprehension. That's all my presentation. Thank you very much for your attention. I'm ready to thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.